So I recently uploaded Selenium scraping code to my GitHub. I'd written it in April, now is July, and it didn't work. It was outputting empty content. And after a bit of investigation, it turns out that TripAdvisor, the site that I was scraping, had updated their code and they changed the names of some of their tags. So I thought I'd put a link here for those who are trying to run this code and maybe getting null output in the future, that they've got a way that they can go into the code, tweak a few things, and hopefully get it running. So we are using Selenium with Python, and I've got a notebook here up and running. If we look for Selenium Python, this is a kind of unofficial site, but it's pretty comprehensive. And in installation, you can see it's just a quick pip install. So I've already done this, but if you haven't, this is how you can do it. The second thing you're gonna need is a Webdriver. My understanding is that different browsers have different JavaScript drivers, and so whichever browser you're going to need, you have to kind of separately install that. And they say make sure it's on your path, but there's a workaround for that I'll show you now. So I'm going to use Firefox. If we download that, I'm currently on Windows, so you can do it like this. Save file. Excuse my messy downloads. Cut that. Paste it here. You can just drag it straight in. But this is all you need in the folder you're running this from. Okay, so from Selenium import WebDriver. And we're also going to need BeautifulSoup. Now to get up and running, we can use something like this. And if you run that, you see that this is what happens. This is what Selenium does. It creates a fully automated web browser. Let's get a URL involved, and of course we're using TripAdvisor. Here's a list, and let's say Singapore Airlines. Say we're interested in scraping this. They've got a good amount of reviews, so let's say that this is our URL. So here we go. If we say URL is that, and if we run that and run that, the same thing, right? Yeah, that looks the same. And then we've got P to D withholding blah blah blah, P to D withholding blah blah blah. The reviews are what we're interested in. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 per page, and I see that there's these kind of 3 dots here, which means that we need to expand this. Before we scrape this content, we're going to need to click on this. So the way to do that is to right click inspect element. This, it changes state, and we have an event tag on the end, reless, and now it's dark blue again. So this looks to be our chap, and it's clickable. So we need to do something with that. Well, this is the class name of this div element. So what we want to be able to do is click on any div element which has that, right? This one should have the same name, _3b, _3b, So what we want to do is click on all of those elements. So what we can say is driver get element by class name, and then just well, that's my bad, it's not get, is it? It's find element by class name. And let's call this read more, and then we can just say, well, read more this element that we have found, click, and this is our method now. We're going to click on that. What should happen now is if I run this, we get our Webdriver. Let's zoom right out, and then we should click. Excellent. And you saw how that expanded. And now what we can do is we can look at the review content. Let's go in here, and it's really up to you about what you want. For example, is it important to you to have who wrote it, when it was written, all of this kind of meta information, the bubble rating, the flight they were on, or are you just interested in the text? So depending on what you're interested in, depends on the kind of element name that you're looking for. But let's say we want everything, and that, as you can see, comes in at this level. And this is what TripAdvisor are changing. These class names seem to change randomly. Let's try and close all of this down. We should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if we mouse over it, we should see the top 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. So this is what we're after. It's a div element. Okay. So now it's rendered out to the screen, and this is where BeautifulSoup will come in. So if we say our soup object is obviously BeautifulSoup, use driver page source, I think it is. Yep, page source. We want to use a parser. So that's the whole page, and now we want to extract just one element, which for us is the review soup. So we need to say within this soup object, we want to find all of those review texts. And so now we have to say, well, it's a div. Find all the divs with these attributes. It's a class name that we're looking for, and the name is this. Okay, so we created a soup object, which is all of the HTML that's rendered in this Webdriver. And then we say, okay, we're looking for a subset of that soup. So within that soup, find all of the dividers which have the class name of this one. And this is likely what's going to change and what you'll need to change in future. This may change. It actually didn't in mine, but this one did. So when we get that review soup, let's inspect it. We want to know the length of it. Let's just do that. Let's go through this again. Launch the Webdriver. Zoom out. Click read more. And then extract our soup. Now 15, we were expecting 5, we got 15. Let's just have a look at this. If we look at the last one, you'll see it's very short and it's got this, yes, wrote a tip. So Warren D wrote a tip. The last thing that we collected from this page was Warren D wrote a tip. And up here you have these tips. And Warren D wrote a tip, and let's see if this matches. Be aware is you are requesting a refund. Be aware if you're requesting a refund. So it's not just getting the review 5, it's also getting these 5 tips. Let's check out 10. This should be Kim Mac. Check duty-free allowance. Check duty-free allowance. Kim Mac. And if we go to 9, then you'll see this posted a photo, which is this stuff here. Ian YJ posted a photo. Right, so we actually don't want any of that. That's not going to help me anyway. The tips might be useful, but I have a feeling that there's only 100 tips, there's 25,000 reviews. It's what, max 10-15 words. It's not very juicy in terms of language content. So what we're also going to do is we're going to limit this. We should actually check that, right? What is 5? We are expecting this do not book. Karen N says do not book. Adelaide, Australia. Karen N wrote a review, and let's just see if we can find title somewhere. Yeah, do not book. But another thing we can do here is just use it very much like SQL. We can just set a limit to the number of things that we want. And now if I run this, you'll see we only get 5. And number 4 is, again, exactly what we were looking for. Singapore Airlines cancel our business class flights more than 8 weeks ago. Corona times are hard for the airline industry, it seems. This is what you're looking for. If you're getting null objects out, if you want to parse this further, yeah, BeautifulSoup is your friend. What we can do right now is just extract all the text. You see how powerful this is, and we get all of the text that was in here. You can also get information like this. Let me see. What is this called? Review rating. So review rating. Yeah, and this is actually not text. This is actually within a span. 10 here means 1. Does anyone have, yeah, if we go to Kim Mac and do the same thing, you can see, yeah, she's got a bubble rating of 50, that's 5, so it's actually just that number you want. And what you can do, you can just extract this whole thing as a string and then just count backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So you only want the 17th element, and this structure here at the end, it never changes. So you can do that fairly reliably. Okay, that's it for today. If you have any questions, suggestions, comments, I'll see you down in the comment section.